aren't the super weapons great? Isn't it awesome how much faster like my bullets move and just how much more destructive that is? It's so nice that when you get used to the higher level weapons like in World 4 and you go back and you play like the early levels, maybe to get a better high score, like you find that you're pretty spoiled. Like, suddenly the weapons that you have in the first world are now, they feel kind of, you know, a little limp and weak. Like they don't quite have the punch that you're used to. So this is a marathon, like I call it a pretzel stage. It's a path that winds and twists and doubles back on itself through kind of a mesh of hallways, and it's very slow moving, which you might think is good. Like compared to a lightning fast like speed quarter, you might think that's good, but it also means you're in the stage longer. Like there's more time for things to go horribly wrong for you. So yeah, this is one that again, we're into some advanced stages now, and this is one that I have a particularly tough time with, just because it's such a marathon. Like if I get to the end of this, you know, you guys will see like how long this level really is. It's probably maybe close to a 5-minute level. It's one of the longer levels in the game, to be honest, and it's one that I have considerable trouble with. So you know, you may see me die. Fair warning. It doesn't have. I'm trying to remember if this one has got advanced sniper enemies in it, and I'm thinking it may have a few, but I may have actually removed all of them just because of the difficulty level and like this being almost impossible to clear. So we'll see if we see any of the big pinkies in here. You know, I think there may not be any. Like there may just be a few small ones, and then you know this kind of other mix of enemies, which is in its own right is challenging. Like you have. You've got breakers, and then the large leapers that can leap and turn those breakers into bullets. That's a major threat. All of that mixed with blockers, who like other enemies can bounce off them, so they're kind of a defensive hazard. And then a few of the small snipers around, just getting in your face. Again, they're kind of a primary danger. They're the one thing that can sort of aim at you and directly initiate like an attack that will destroy you if you don't move, as opposed to just moving around randomly. Oh man, I got clipped. That's horrible. So that was my progress there was maybe halfway. I was maybe halfway into it. Pro tips for clearing this level: target only what you need to is a pretty good one. If you don't really need to destroy that super tough leaper right there, there's no reason to. If you decide to break the orange breakers, it's wise to shoot every single piece. Like don't leave random pieces floating out there. Obviously, target pink enemies first, like this guy. That's a given. So, you know, target selection, playing defensively, like kind of playing conservatively, all can sort of play into what it takes to clear like a longer level like this. And you've got to keep your cool. Like as you get near the end, you're like, oh man, like I've gone so far into it. Like don't like concentrate, dude. Don't lose it now. And you put like a little bit of pressure on yourself to where it almost like makes it harder for you. So you just got to relax and stay focused and not make any mistakes, which I'll try to do presently. It's going to get up to the top here. There's going to be a big wave of enemies, and then it's going to loop around and go down to the right, and I have a chance to grab that triangle beam you saw right there, the striker beam. If I can pick that up, if I can just get there. Oh, keep it together. Don't die! Oh! Oh man, that was bad. Okay, this is a really good weapon for this stage. So, at this point, just shooting all the little pieces of the orange things, watching out for the snipers, like avoiding the obvious threats. I'm gonna pass that up and keep this one. This is a good weapon. Jump beam is a very similar weapon, but I'll stick with this. Pretty risky. Okay, we're getting close to the end now, and I just want to be very careful how I proceed here. Looking for stray shots from off screen, just, you know, the little pink, one little bullet from off screen from one of these little pink guys can end me. So, you know, I've really got to stay frosty now. I think there's a leaper back in here that I didn't destroy. There he is. Can't let that guy near me. Okay, laser. Good. Good. Okay, ignoring a couple targets now. That's, you know, I'm getting to the end, right? So, being very conservative at this point. I'm willing to ignore a few targets if it means I can freaking live. Excellent. We got a new enemy in here, which is a Rager enemy. It's kind of these purple things, and what they do is, as you get near them, they sort of light up, and they start to move a little faster and more unpredictably. And they also have abilities similar to the Leapers, except when the Rager grabs a piece of a breaker enemy, it doesn't just turn it into a bullet that's aimed at you. It creates a triangular spread of bullets that is randomly aimed. So they're just another sort of chaotic enemy that has this kind of random behavior that can, you know, when you mix them in with lots of other enemies, it can create very unpredictable challenges that can be both very kind of fun and interesting, and also extremely dangerous. So again, this is it's a free move level, so we do have a timer, just to avoid the possibility that the player will decide to sit around and grind points. You really can't do that with the clock ticking. So and it doesn't have, oh no, oh. You don't have a lot of time in this level, so there's a little bit of pressure. Let's try this one. This is the super spread gun. It's got a 7 bullet spread, and not incredibly powerful. I mean, at close range, it's pretty powerful. What it's really good for is kind of cleaning up the lots of small pieces of breakers. I'm not going to go with that gun. I'm going to pick a more powerful direct damage weapon. It's kind of my style. A lot of other players that I'll watch play this really enjoy the spread. Kind of an homage to Contra, really. Like that was the best gun by far in Contra. The Contra spread gun is, incidentally, that's much more powerful than the spread gun in Disastr Blastr, because the fire rate was much better. So anyway, I'm going to stick with this. This is the so-called junk beam, but this is the super junk beam, and definitely one of my favorite weapons. I will go for this in most levels. I think probably this is in my top 2 or 3 favorite weapons in the game, so it tends to be a good all-around kind of balanced weapon. Now I've got to watch out with all these little pieces of breaker floating around. That can really, if any of these little green leaper guys touch these, that can cause me a lot of problems. But I've also got to keep an eye on my clock, because I don't have an incredibly huge amount of time to navigate through here. So if possible, if I see an opening like ahead of me, I'm gonna go ahead and just move through if possible and avoid some enemies where I can. So far so good. Let's keep it together. I think there might be a triflector up here at the end. That'd be very nasty of the designer to... Oh yeah, there is one. Okay, oh no! Oh. Close shave there. This random weapon I'm using here is not ideal against the triflector. You sort of just have to... You know, I kind of just strafe. Like I'll fire at them while I'm strafing just to avoid the blowback from reflected shots. Okay, still plenty of time. Ugh. There's kind of a choke point where you've got to fit through small gaps and kind of a bit of a barrier here. We've got stuff on the other side. These leapers can be particularly bad in a situation like this, where they'll sort of stop in the gap and block you. Okay, there's the exit. Good deal. 68% kill rate that time. Nothing stellar, but yeah, that's a level that I really enjoy, just for the mix of enemies and also the free moving, like levels that are kind of linear like that, but have a free moving scroll type are just fun. So okay, we're approaching the boss of World 4. This is a so-called flower boss. It's called a flower because it has rotating shields that rotate around it. It kind of looks like a daisy, maybe. And the idea is these shields will absorb your shots, and when they're full, when the pink meter fills all the way up, they release like a burst of shots, and the shield disappears momentarily. So the way to damage this guy would be to just attack the center. You can destroy his shields, avoid the shots, and just kind of damage the center. And I picked the weapon that I find most effective, which is just, now normally this is not a real devastating weapon. This kind of a machine gun. It's fast and it's pretty good against a lot of smaller enemies, but it's not a real powerful direct damage weapon like this would be. This one would be much more powerful, but it's also going to be much more difficult for me to penetrate between the shields with this enemy. And when you hit the shields, it creates more shots. The shots it creates are going to get soaked up by these green containers and create a lot more of these little particles, and that is going to more than likely cause you a lot of problems and potentially get you killed. So here we go. All out attack. Oh, he's coming for me. Oh no! Okay, so I'm going to start off with this weapon. See if I can penetrate a little bit between the shields here. He's not a super healthy enemy in the respect that he doesn't take a lot of, like, he doesn't have a ton of health. He doesn't take a lot of damage to the core very well. He is one of the defensive type bosses, of which there are two, and they're a couple of the more devious bosses, honestly. The other one is the gladiator boss, which we'll run into in World 7. Okay, almost there. Yes! Grab a couple quick extra points. So not too bad there. 0 kill bonus. The spawning really outspawned my shooting in that level. But there you guys have it. This has been a journey through World 4 of Disastr Blastr, and it's been by far the most challenging gameplay video to record. Really hope you guys enjoyed this. This is showing you some of the more advanced, more definitely getting into the more challenging areas of the game now. So if you haven't checked this out on Steam Greenlight, there's a great video. You can go look at the Greenlight page, vote it up. It's available now on Xbox 360, on Xbox Live Indie Games, and also on itch.io, the PC version. This is Joel from Dog Theory. Thanks for watching. See you guys again next time.